Welcome back everybody to the How to Dominate the Chessboard series, and today we will be not playing chess games against bots, but we'll be talking about the 5 common chess mistakes. Now there's obviously more mistakes than that, like hanging your queen in one move, or not taking the center, or not developing your pieces, stuff like that. I have picked 5 of these mistakes we will be talking about today, and hopefully learn something from them. If you like this, make sure to drop a sub. We kind of need them. We're trying to go for 1,000 subs eventually. Yeah, let's get on to the video. The first chess mistake is not having a plan or an opening. Now, openings in chess help us get ideas, plans, which pieces to trade, which pieces to keep, and so on and so forth. But some people decide not to study chess openings. Now, on the one hand, it's good. You save up time on, wasting your time studying theory, and then you do more time doing puzzles and tactics. Unfortunately, without openings, even if it's not an opening you play, even if it's a prep against a trap, if you don't know anything, you just go in blind, then you will fall 8 times out of 10 in an opening trap. For example, let's take the England Gambit. It's a well-known gambit where you give up a pawn and you try to win it back, and then, you go into this position. The best move is to give up the pawn. Now, to know the best move, you need to have studied a little bit. Now, the most intuitive move with opening traps is this. In opening traps, the most intuitive move can kill you. That's how it goes. For example, defending the pawn. Very intuitive, very normal. And now you get hit with queen to b4, attacking 3 things at the same time. The best move is entering this, this thing, with king here. That's the best response right now. Of course, white is still completely fine. But let's say you don't know this. Let's say you don't know about this, and you're like, well, my bishop is under attack, so let me just move it back, right? And now they take your pawn, and now your rook is hanging, and now obviously, the famous trap is, if you move your knight, then the game will proceed something like this. Now, if you do not know that, and you do something like bishop to c3, then you will be hit with a very beautiful bishop to b4, which should you defend the thing like this, then it will take, and if you take again like this to defend the rook, then you'll get mated. Congratulations, you just got mated in 8 moves. Now, where did it all go wrong? First of all, now you just learned about this. So if you don't know any openings and you don't know anything about this, here you go, you learned something today. Openings give you the ideas and the plans. Going in blind without knowing anything will just screw you over. So let me give you some examples. Now, in d4, d5, we have the Queen's Gambit, which the idea is to give up a pawn to get the center, and, if they defend it, you can always just strike back and destroy the queen side. If you don't like d4, there's also e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, and bishop c4. The Italian, which targets a very weak square. I am saying, basically what I want to say is, an opening will very much help you advance in your chess experience, because openings give you the ideas and plans and stuff to do in the middle game. If you don't have an opening and you just make stuff as you go, for example, 2 knights out and bishop out, fine, I guess. But an opening gives you an idea, and also, that will come in later, saves time, so you don't have to spend time on thinking on moves like bishop here, which are very obvious, in comparison to a guy that probably has preparation. So what I'm saying is, have an opening, know an opening to a certain extent. Like, you don't have to go outside and memorize thousands of lines. That's what people get confused with openings. It's not about learning 1,000 lines. It's about, most of the time, learning the ideas behind an opening. I can explain to you the ideas of the Queen's Gambit. The point is, you're giving up the pawn to get the massive center, and if they decline the pawn, then you go into the Catalan, which is a kind of a second opening in that sense, where you insist on losing this pawn to get compensation for this bishop. There are a lot of lines, but generally that is the idea. And then you will slowly castle, and then you will win back this pawn, for example, and then Like in this, you can play a4. It's a bit advanced, but the idea is basically you're trying to prevent them from getting tempo and defending their pawn. So this is generally what openings are, ideas. Now, of course, later you're gonna have to study the lines to get better at the opening. But for now, if you're just starting out, just learning the ideas is already enough. Now let's go to the second chess mistake. Now, the second common chess mistake, which ties in with the first one, time mismanagement. Now, this mistake has two forms. Number one, playing too fast. Number two, playing too slowly. So, for example, we have a 10-0 game, which is a rapid and the most common time format. You play e4, they respond with e5. You know you have to move your knights, and then you think a little bit, you decide to play bishop c4, and then they play h6, a bit of a weird move. You think for a little bit, you think for a minute here. Castles, for example, d6, developing another pawn. You decide to go rook e1, they go knight f6, and then you think a little bit more and you go d3, and now they're chasing your bishop. Now you're thinking, should I give a check or should I go back? You decide to, after a little bit of thought, to go here, and when the dust settles eventually, like let's play a couple more moves, um, at some point, black has like 7 minutes and you have 3 or 4. So this is what time mismanagement is. And this kind of ties in with not learning openings. And, you will end up in a scenario where you will have 0 time left, and then you will be having to play a little too faster. And then eventually you might mess something up because you have 0 time to think. And you might lose on time, which is kind of unfortunate. You might even get a winning position and still lose on time, which stings even more, honestly. So, how do we prevent time mismanagement, at least on that form? On the playing too slowly. Well, this ties in with openings. If you learn an opening, at least the ideas of it, like uh, for example, let's say you play the Sicilian, and you decide to sit down and learn the Dragon Sicilian, for example, which is this. So you decide to sit down and learn the Dragon variation of the Sicilian defense, which is semi-setup and semi-theory. And actually, these are really nice. For example, bishop to e3, bishop to e7. So if you go and learn an opening, its ideas, you will have a general plan on what to do. Because most of the time, people say, learn ideas in an opening and not the lines. Because most of the time, you're going to need the lines because people might mess up. They might not go according to your theory, and you're like, oh my god, what is this? It's not in my theory book. So by learning openings to a teeth, you will spend less time in the opening, you will have a plan already, and you will avoid wasting lots of time in the opening. You can play like 10 moves in like less than a minute if you know what you're doing, which is really nice. Now, there is also a reverse to that, ladies and gentlemen, playing too fast. So let's say you're playing classical, which is 30 minutes, and let's say you have a 20 plus increment. And then you just play fast. I mean, you're not really thinking on your moves. You're not really thinking on your moves. You're playing really fast here. And then you decide to play like a3 and then it's strike with d5, and you're like, let's take, let's take again. Why not? And a lot of moves go by, like a lot of moves, like super a lot of moves. And you have, for example, like 20 moves go by, for example. Let's play an entire game. For example, here, 20 moves go by and you have spent 0 time thinking, and black has a better position in example here. Slightly better positional position. Like rook c1, let's say, and then rook b8. Like, let's say you're not really playing the best move because you're not really thinking much on the best move. So for example here, and let's say king h1 to try and go for a kingside attack. Like, the game, 16 moves have gone by, and you have spent less than a minute thinking, and probably have more time than you have already been given. That is crazy. So the problem is in time mismanagement is it's not about playing faster or playing slower. It's about finding a balance between these two things. And the balance is you need to have a balance between fast and slow. Now in Blitz, this is kind of different. You have to play a little bit faster. Or Bullet is much more different. You just play fast. But in Classical, you don't really have to play a move on a second or less. You just think. You can think. That's pretty much it about time mismanagement. Let's go to the third mistake. The third mistake is never analyzing your losses or wins. For example, you decide to sit down and play a chess game. You win, and it was very short, and you decide to analyze. And you didn't have too much. I mean, they probably fell for an opening trap. Or, I don't know, they blundered the queen. But you still analyzed it because you felt proud. And then you play another game. It lasted around 40 to 50 moves. It was very equal. You had a slight advantage. Maybe you had a bit of a positional advantage or developmental advantage or something like that. But then you screw it up in some way. You make a blunder or a mistake. And then you lose the game. And then you want to throw your phone out of the window because you lost. We're actually not going to use the board that much for this one. It's very much a little bit basic and general. To get better in chess, you need to analyze your games. That includes losses, draws, and wins. Like yesterday, or a couple of days ago, basically, it has been a week ever since, I played a Classical game, and it was equal for 30 moves, and on the 31st, I made a blunder, positional and I don't know, whatever you call this mistake, and I lost, kind of. Now, I still analyzed the game because I wanted to see what I did right and what I did wrong and try to learn from it. What I probably did wrong is playing a little bit irrationally and not thinking a bit in what would happen in 10 to 20 moves later. That was my mistake, probably. In chess, that's how you get better. You need to analyze your losses. There's no loss in chess. There is winning and learning. Now, you might say copium in the comments. Fine, you can do that. But even from a loss, you can still learn something. From a win, you can also do that. Even a draw. But the point I'm trying to make here is don't skip your games that you lose. Always analyze those games to see what you did wrong and what you can improve on. Now, it could be ranging from you blundering your queen for no reason to making a GM type of mistake, like a positional disadvantage where the opponent keep pressing on. But that's it. Basically, the incentive is to just keep analyzing your games. It doesn't matter the result. It matters to learn from it and what you can improve on the next game. Let's go to the next mistake. The fourth mistake is fake training. Now, fake training is when you convince yourself to do the work, but you actually are not doing anything. This kind of ties in with the previous mistake of not analyzing your games, and kind of ties with the first one with not learning openings. Anyway, let's begin. So basically, you have a course that you spend $40 on the Queen's Gambit, for example. You know what to do on the accepted variation. You need to go e4, and you know what to do on the Greco variation, which is basically they defending the pawn. But you don't really know what to do on the Macdonald defense, which is actually the best way to play against the Queen's Gambit. And that's because you decided to just switch off and not learn this. First of all, that's completely ridiculous. And second of all, people do this. Like, they're like, okay, I know what to do against this, and I know what to do against this, but I don't really know what to do against this. I always lose like 100% of the time. But you have a course on this thing. You know you can study it. You can go and learn it. I can tell you what to do here. So here, takes, and you take this pawn, and you have this weak f7 pawn. You can go queen b3. You can put pressure on this pawn. You can castle. Like, you get very nice development here. But you decided to just not learn it, so you just don't know anything what to do here. Another example, let's say you know what to do on the declined, and you know that in the Catalan you bring out this thing, but you, like, for example, you don't know what to do in the accepted variation. You don't know that, you don't know what to do here. Now you don't know what to do here. Now you're completely blind, and you don't know what to do against knight to c6, but you know what to do against bishop e7. So you're choosing what to study, and you refuse to learn everything else. If you decide to learn something, you need to put in the work. That's with everything in life. You need to put in the work. It's basically this. You can't write a test without studying, right? Now, obviously, people do that, and they are kind of successful at it. But you can't quite learn by not learning, if you know what I mean. You can't. How do I put it in words? Um, you can't. You can learn if you're not learning. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So if you are willing to put in the work and don't be lazy. In chess, you need to put in the work. That's it. Let's go to the fifth mistake. All right, fifth mistake. One move blunders. Basically, when you lose your piece in one move. How do these originate, though? That's the problem. Let's play e6. Let's go d4, d5. Let's play the Schlechter variation, which is a line. You decide to go c5, then you go into this Jeopardy. Not Jeopardy. This line here, and then let's say you decide to reinforce this, and you take here, and then they take again, and then you're like, wait a minute, that's a free knight, so you take it. And then you want to throw yourself out of the window because you blundered your queen in one move via a tactic, bishop to b5. And now you've lost your queen and you want to, how do I put this kindly? Let's say you're really angry. And how did this happen? Well, you weren't thinking. One move blunders happen very, very much oftentimes when we just switch off, when we just don't think. So, say for example, this position. Okay, let's play on f3, queen takes. So, again, this ties in with thinking in chess, right? Chess is a game of calculation and concrete thinking. What do you need to think? So, in chess, you think, do I have any attacks? Okay. Do I have any checks? Okay. Do I have any captures? Nah, not really. You have this. You need to play this. So you defend this instead. And this happened because you just get greedy or you switch off. And now we have this example here. And after c takes, e takes, you didn't even think that there is a free pawn here. You saw the knight, and then you're like, free knight, that's interesting. And then you lost your queen a couple moments after. So to prevent one move blunders is to think in the position. That's what you need to do. You need to always keep an eye on your opponent's pieces, on your opponent's capabilities, and what will happen. That's what you need to think in chess before moving. What will happen after you make a move. So don't only think about yourself, think about what your opponent can do. Otherwise, you might end up with bishop b5 check, just coming onto the board, and then you getting really, really angry. Let's go to the next mistake. And for the final mistake is playing chess at the wrong time. I don't mean the time format. I don't mean playing slowly. I don't mean playing fast. I'm implying the emotional and physical state of the player. Chess is a mental sport. However, it's also physical. If you are sick, if you're stressed, anxious, angry, or simply just down, or very tired or very pessimistic, then you're not really going to deliver. Or if you're sick, chess skill is also impacted by physical state. You will not perform the same way you would perform if you're healthy and happy and optimistic. So to solve this, and to prevent you from playing rapid games at 3 in the morning completely tired, is don't play chess for the sake of playing it. Play chess because it's fun. You like chess. That's why you play it. So why play it as some sort of chore? So physical and mental state is the most important thing in chess. And actually, another thing I want to add is when I will probably make a video on this eventually is tilt. Tilt happens. It happens. It's very common. It has happened to me twice. It has been awful. I'm still recovering my chess.com tilt. But the way you fix mental and physical state, let's say for examples, working out, staying healthy, or being in general good mood. That's when you want to play chess. When you can focus, when you can give your attention, your divert your quote unquote resources, and be able to play. Chess is a horrible game. It's horrible for psychologically if you think about it. But we're all in this together. It happens. But try to play chess when you can play chess. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about of the common chess mistakes that we've all made. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.